Have you ever felt like everything fell apart as soon as you told someone about your breakthrough? We're going to show you 5 divine secrets that the Holy Spirit wants you to keep hidden, not out of fear, but because of wisdom. True things should not be told to careless ears. Some things that are valuable in the heart lose their worth when they are seen in the wrong way. So God says, do not talk about these things. Do not do this out of fear. Do not do this out of divine protection, out of purpose, out of spiritual clarity. There are some things that belong only on the altar. A prayer room is the only place for some things, not a coffee table. We are losing the value of privacy in a world that encourages us to share too much and show every part of our lives. But God is making it right. He is telling us that some things are holy. We need to keep them that way, he says. Truth be told, God doesn't want us to hide our light. He just wants us to keep our pearls safe. Also, the 5 things he tells us not to share are not problems. They are gifts. They show that a person is spiritually mature. They're not weights. Those are wings. They raise us up to a place where only God can hear us, and silence can be our safe place. God tells us not to tell other people how important our calling is because they won't understand. Some people can't see what God showed you at night. The dream God gave you won't be respected by everyone. Joseph told his brothers about his dream, but it didn't move them. It made them angry. If you talk about a divine appointment too soon, you will face resistance on earth. It's not because the dream isn't real, but because the ground isn't ready yet. God may show you things no one else sees, tell you things no one else hears, or give you burdens that no one else bears. And it's not your job to make everyone believe in your calling. You need to follow it. The message is less powerful when you talk too much about what God told you in secret. Things that were once special become normal. What used to be private is now being talked about. And when you're trying to show people how good you are, you can lose God. It's not a punishment when God tells you to hold it close. It's to keep you safe. Your calling will become clear in due course. Let your food talk. Walk like you're preaching. Say yes by following through. God gives you more when you take care of what He gave you. You put it at risk when you show it off before it's time, though. Not everyone is happy about your fate. There are people ready to ruin it. Don't talk. Stay true to God. Let heaven decide when the vision should happen. Another thing God tells you to never tell anyone is how much you gave up. People in our world like it when people do well, but heaven loves humble people. Giving up something isn't just for show. It's not for comments, likes, or cheers. The quiet obedience, the tears that were kept hidden, the late-night prayers, and the kindness that was not recognized. God sees everything, and He wants you to keep it holy. There's no need to tell everyone about every fast, every gift, and every sleepless night spent praying for others. You don't have to show off how holy you are. A lot of the time, the strongest faith is the quietest. He said, "When you give, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." Why? Because real effort isn't about getting praise. It has to do with relationships. Your prize is already served when you tell everyone what you've given up. Yes, your Father will thank you in public if you do it in secret. He sees everything. People might not praise you, but heaven will love you. That's worth more than gold. People will never know about some of the hardest things you've given up. It's okay though, because the important person saw it all. He saw how you gave when you didn't have much. He saw how much time you gave, even though it hurt. He saw that you prayed all night for someone who would never thank you. That should only be said to God. That is holy ground. If you're up for diving a little deeper and embracing some wisdom, stick around until the end. I promise that what God is about to share with you will totally transform the way you walk, the way you talk, and even who you choose to talk to. This is what spiritual maturity looks like in practice. All right, let's get started. First off, keep it to yourself when it comes to the doors God has quietly opened for you. Wait until you've actually walked through them before sharing. If you've ever really walked with God, You know what it's like to be in those quiet moments of obedience, in the calm spaces of surrender, and even in those dark, quiet times of waiting. Not every miracle needs a microphone, right? You know, there are definitely some things that God brings to life quietly. He quietly opens some doors in the shadows, some breakthroughs he pulls together behind the scenes before they ever get the chance to shine in the spotlight. Revelation 3, verse 8 states, with clear assurance, "I've set up an open door for you that nobody can close." This isn't just a simple statement, it's a promise from the King of Glory to those who are obedient at heart. It's also a bit of a heads up. Not every door needs to be talked about before you walk through it, because an open door is more of an invitation than a big announcement. These days, with everyone sharing their thoughts and seeking approval, a lot of people have sidetracked their true paths by showcasing a personal journey that really wasn't meant to be shared so openly just yet. So, think of destiny in its early stages as a little baby in the womb. It's sacred, delicate, growing, and not yet visible. It's not like you'd share the news of a birth right when the conception happens. So, why would you say a God move is complete before it's really all put together? There's a beautiful flow in how God shares his plans with us. He usually shares things with you privately before giving them his public approval later on. It's that time in between the whisper and the wonder, the vision and the victory, where the enemy really tries to mess things up. Why's that? The enemy might not be able to shut the door that God has opened for you, but he can definitely try to distract you from stepping through it. He might not be able to break the promise, but he sure can mess up the vibe around it by bringing it up too soon. What God whispered in your spirit was meant for your own preparation, not for everyone else to hear. Some blessings need to be nurtured quietly. Miracles require a good dose of prayer, and we should approach opportunities with humility rather than fanfare. Number 2, it's important to keep your vulnerabilities close to your chest. Don't just share them with anyone. Your vulnerability is something truly special. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's actually something really special. Your wounds aren't a curse, but they're not meant for just anyone to handle either. We're in a world that promotes being open without really thinking it through, being transparent without any limits, and sharing our secrets without any commitments. But you know, the Word of God shares a different perspective. It shows us that not everyone who tunes in is truly loyal. Just because someone can hear doesn't mean they're holy. Not everyone who offers comfort is meant to do so. Not everyone is there to wipe away your tears. They turn your wounds into weapons. Judges 16, verse 16 to 17 mentions that Delilah kept nagging him day after day, and he was so worn out that he felt like he was at the point of death. He just opened up and shared it all with her. Wow, it wasn't just that she was stronger. It was more about how she slowly chipped away at him. It wasn't about having a weapon. It was all about her irresistible determination. She wasn't a soldier. She was like a trap. Everyone knew about Samson's incredible strength. A guy who ripped lions apart with his own hands, shouldered city gates, and took down thousands using just a donkey's jawbone. It's interesting how this guy, who could take down entire armies, totally missed the threat right in front of him with Delilah. So, what does that mean for us? Physical strength can't compete with a lack of wisdom. A strong person can really open up and show their vulnerable side when they share their secrets with the wrong person. It wasn't the loss of his strength that led to his downfall. He misplaced his trust. Your heart is more like a vault than a vending machine. Not everyone should get to see the inner workings of your soul. These days, it feels like emotions are shared just like the weather updates we get every day. It's funny how people handle their personal struggles, almost like they're crafting Instagram captions. But you know, some things just aren't really for everyone to see. They're intended for personal prayer. They might not be suitable for everyone to hear. They're meant for God's ears, for your mentor's advice on covenant relationships that have stood the test of time, rather than just being close by. Have you ever confused being close with actually having a commitment? Just because someone is close by doesn't mean they're really on your side. Just because they know who you are doesn't mean they understand your purpose. Just because they notice your tears doesn't mean they're entitled to your truths. Wow, even Jesus had different levels to him. He had a crowd around him. He just turned 70. He got the 12th. Among the 12, he had 3 close ones, Peter, James, and John, his inner circle. He climbed up the Mount of Transfiguration with the 3. He walked into Jairus' daughter's room with the 3 of them. He ventured deeper into the Garden of Gethsemane with the 3. Even while he was in pain, he kept his sadness to himself, not sharing it with the crowd. He mentioned, "I'm feeling so overwhelmed with sorrow, it's like I'm at the edge of death, but this is only for those who are closest to me in our bond." Why is that? Vulnerability really needs trust to hold it up, doesn't it? He understood that he shouldn't bleed in front of those who weren't supposed to carry him. Number 3, it's best to keep your marital or relationship details to yourself. Oh man, what a situation. Let's walk carefully but confidently on this sacred ground. Hebrews 13, verse 4 mentions that marriage is to be honored by all and the marriage bed kept pure. So, God views marriage as something sacred, not just for fun, not for gossip, and definitely not just something to chat about over dinner. What's private to God should be kept safe by us. The message from God is pretty straightforward. The marriage covenant isn't only about a man and a woman, it's a special triangle that includes the Lord. When we start to reveal what should stay hidden, we don't just cross a line with the other person, we're going against God's design. I want to talk directly to the wives and husbands out there who are in a committed relationship but are struggling and sharing their pain with the wrong people. Marriage is kind of like a garden. Leaving the gate open means anything could stroll right in. Foxes, snakes, vultures, and weeds don't all just destroy by eating things up. Some people can cause destruction just by watching, by sowing seeds of doubt, dishonor, and comparison. You share your thoughts with a friend who isn't worried about God, and just like that, your frustrations turn into their enjoyment. You share your struggles with someone who's also hurting, and now your important journey turns into a chat within the community. Some things between a husband and wife are meant to stay just between them, unless someone else is there to help fix things, not just share them. Why not have a chat with your pastor? Why not consider seeing a Christian counselor? Head on over to God. Avoid chatting with people who are single, bitter, overly focused on physical things, or too curious about your business. What you express in frustration might get repeated, but with a bit of exaggeration. What used to be a moment filled with emotion can turn into something that creates division. It seems like some of you might have been unintentionally causing a bit of trouble within your own group. You might think you're just chatting or venting a bit, but what you're actually doing is letting some negative vibes into your space. You're opening the garden gate and letting in some unwanted spirits that are trampling the roses, digging up the roots, and poisoning the soil. When God brought you two together, He put a protective barrier around you. But your words, those careless, repeated, vented words, can really break that hedge. Proverbs 17, verse 9 mentions that, "Whoever covers an offense seeks love, but whoever repeats a matter separates close friends." It's not only about friendships, you know. It's also about marriages. Covering something doesn't mean you should just ignore it. It means to keep safe. It means to step in and help out. It's about keeping things private when your partner is going through a tough time. Just take a moment to pray about it. When your partner messes up, you don't go posting about it on Facebook. You skimmed right over it. When you feel like no one is listening, you don't just turn to someone else for a listening ear. When you seek healing, you turn to God. Marriage isn't always a walk in the park. It's just two imperfect people strolling along, finding grace in each other. Just because there's a conflict doesn't mean you have to form a committee. God never promised that you wouldn't face struggles. He mentioned that what God has joined together, no one should separate. Make sure to take care of your spouse, Encourage them with positive words. Keep an eye on the garden. Make sure to keep the gate closed. Number 4, it's really important to keep your acts of kindness and good works to yourself. Absolutely, the Bible makes it clear. Matthew 6, verse 3 says, "But when you give to the needy, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." There's a special kind of giving that's really personal, almost sacred, and feels truly holy. When you show off your generosity, looking for recognition for your kindness, and share every donation and good deed online, it seems like you've already gotten your reward through likes and cheers. But heaven is quiet because love wasn't behind your giving. You shared because of pride. God doesn't really care about how you look to others. He's checking out your heart. Sometimes the most amazing things in the world are right in front of us, yet we just don't notice them. They come into the world quietly. They aren't judged by Instagram stats or how well they're known in the community. There are books out there that eyes on earth will never get to read. When you give quietly, when you lend a hand without looking for anything in return, you really connect with the essence of Christ. Jesus healed them and asked them not to tell anyone. He just went ahead and washed feet without saying a word. He carried the cross, not looking for anyone to follow him. When you serve, just do it quietly in the background. When you bless someone, do it quietly, without making a big deal out of it. When you forgive, just do it quietly without broadcasting how tough it was. So here we are at the 5th thing. It's really important and honestly a bit risky to share your spiritual experiences and insights that came too soon. This is where a lot of people stumble. You've got this dream, this vision, maybe even a prophetic word, and before it's really had a chance to grow, you're eager to share it. You're jumping the gun a bit. By doing that, you're opening the door to a conflict you're not quite prepared to handle. I want to share something with you about divine revelation. It's pretty heavy. It's something really special. People often get it wrong. When you share it too soon, you open it up to being laughed at, misunderstood, and faced with some pushback. Sometimes God reveals things to you not so you can share them, but so you can pray, fast, wait, and get ready. Even Mary, when the angel told her she would carry the Messiah, didn't rush to share it on the village wall. The Bible mentions, "But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart." She thought about it. She stood guard because she understood how sacred this was. And sacred things need to be kept under wraps until heaven chimes in with, "All right, if God has given you a word, take some time to reflect on it. Take a moment to pray about it. Give it a try and see how it feels." If it really comes from Him, it won't fade away. It won't just sit there in silence. It's going to grow some roots. And when the time is just right, it'll flow out like a river. But if you hurry things along, if you put it out there too soon, if you seek approval from others, you could end up messing up what God had planned for you. I just want to share this not to shut you down, but to look out for you, to help you see things differently, and to encourage you to tap into a deeper understanding. Power and privacy go hand in hand. There's something powerful about silence. Not everything good has to be shared, Not everything sacred needs to be spoken about. There are certain things that are just between you and God, and that's where their strength really lies. Some of the most amazing things God does in our lives are often the quiet ones, the ones that are tucked away, just hanging out in the shadows of His protection. Did you know that sometimes God hides His best works in the shadows before showing them off in all their glory? He formed the earth in the dark. He created man from the hidden dust. Your calling was shaped in the secret place of your mother's womb. And here we are in a world where everyone craves to be noticed. It's true, everyone wants to feel like their voice matters. People really like to share before they've been shaped. I just wanted to share something with you. If God is working on you behind the scenes, try not to mess it up by putting it out there for everyone to see too soon. Some spiritual treasures are meant to stay just between you and God until they've been refined by fire. The furnace isn't meant to be a stage. The wilderness isn't a stage. Not every revelation is something everyone needs to hear. Some words are just so sacred and significant that saying them too soon can really tarnish their true essence. Some of you might be going through a time where you feel like nobody sees you, like you're just blending into the background. It's easy to want to share what God has promised you, thinking it might help others understand what you're dealing with. But you know, just because someone is silent doesn't mean God isn't speaking. Just because they haven't recognized your calling doesn't mean God has left it behind. Just because no one is cheering for your obedience doesn't mean that heaven isn't giving you a round of applause. Don't swap divine approval for a round of applause from people. Don't trade long-lasting rewards for just a bit of attention. If you truly want to carry the fire of God and walk in anointing, then you need to embrace the holy art of keeping things under wraps. It's not about hiding shame or sin. It's about keeping sacred things private, a level of secrecy that prevents oil from going to waste. The kind of secrecy that keeps altars pure. The kind of secrecy that makes demons shake in their boots because they have no clue what God has in store for you. I'd like to talk directly to those who have faced attacks without any reason. For anyone who's experienced betrayal for no reason, no worries, you didn't say anything wrong. You know what? You didn't do anything wrong. You just had something so sacred that the darkness could sense it. Listen up. Spiritual attacks can happen even when you haven't said a word. Sometimes it shows up simply because you hold on to the promise. You're like a vessel, holding and carrying that sacred fire within you. The enemy spots that light and gets scared of it. That's why he tries to twist what you say. That's why he works to influence your relationships. That's why he wants you to speak at the wrong time, so he can twist what you say into something painful. Child of God, you know what's up with his tricks. You've got a knack for spiritual discernment. You've been chosen to protect what truly matters. Just like a soldier keeps his strategy under wraps before the battle, you should learn to fight quietly and achieve victory without making a fuss. Let your wins do the talking when they're clear as day. Let your growth shine through when it can't be overlooked. And let your God take the lead, because he'll defend you in ways that words just can't match. Let me share this with you from the heart. No one deserves an explanation for what God is doing in your life. No need to explain why you follow the rules. No need to explain your call. There's no need to explain to them why you've changed. You're not here to seek their approval. You're living for the glory of the one who brought you out of darkness and into his amazing light. Some of you might have found yourselves oversharing, all because of the fear of being misunderstood. But listen, being misunderstood comes with the territory. They really got Moses all wrong. They made fun of Noah. They talked badly about Daniel. They turned their backs on Jesus. If they got the Son of God all wrong, what makes you think people will always get you right? To really walk in power, you've got to get the hang of walking with a bit of mystery. Let them say what they want. Let them ask questions. Let them think what they want. You really don't have to explain yourself to them. It's important to remember that you owe God your obedience. There's something really powerful about knowing when to hold back and when to share your thoughts. It's like a special strength in being able to choose your moments wisely. Facing silence isn't about dodging confrontation or ignoring responsibility. It's all about using your judgment to figure out when to speak and when to remain quiet. Sometimes, the strongest move we can make is just to stay quiet. It's really about realizing that God's voice is stronger than any of ours and having faith that he'll speak for us when it counts. Being able to stay quiet when everyone around us is pushing us to talk shows a real level of spiritual growth. It's a sign that we're getting better at trusting God over our own understanding. It's a clear indication that we've given up our desire for validation and recognition, opting instead to trust that God will work things out in his perfect timing. In that quiet moment, you can really feel God's presence, shaping and refining us, getting us ready for something bigger.